To start off, can we just let the people know a little bit about your background as it relates to being a royal expert, what that looks like? How did you get into it? Bring us up to speed on your, I guess, credentials.
Sure. I have to laugh too, because in the first part of the Netflix series, do you remember that Prince Harry says, so-called royal experts,
Is
like
that
major
you?
air quotes,
You were the
are
so-called?
paid? I felt very called out. I did. But yeah, so I've been covering the royal family for people for 22 years.
Whoa, okay.
So Diana really was in a league of her own in terms of her level of fame. And also, as you say, in terms of how she was treated and really abused by the press. And I do think it's worth noting that because of her unbelievably tragic death, which did have a clear line to that press treatment, a lot changed, right? So when you see in that docuseries Diana walking through the airport holding up the tennis racket in front of her face, being absolutely hounded, people getting on the elevator with her, paparazzis getting on the elevator with her. In the footage, a lot of people weren't familiar with that footage of her on the slopes with the kids, putting up her hand in front of the camera saying, please leave us alone. That changed after her death. And it's absolutely sort of inconceivable that that's what it took to change that, but it is, sadly. So I wouldn't say that either Meghan or Kate were subject to that level of hounding. With Kate, the distinction I would draw as someone who's watched this family is that she came in really as a blank slate. When she entered the spotlight, it was as William's girlfriend.
Here in LA, obviously there's a lot of press, there's a lot of paparazzis, but it's nothing compared to in the UK. I have friends who've suffered. I lost a friend because of the effects of the press in the UK. And I think it's so important that, just even if that's all that comes out of this documentary alone, is that it does have to change. And I remember watching the funeral of Princess Diana, when it all happened, and thinking, oh, well, at least something good will come out of it. And I really don't think it has.
But you think it's fairly consistent across the board, just in general, just the UK press?
Absolutely. Look, what they've done to Meghan, I think, is absolutely disgusting, and it's heartbreaking, and it's cruel. And they're actually doubling down now after the documentary. That's what's so sad. They don't even, consider what they've done, or maybe wanting to apologize in some way. They're doubling down on it and saying, here, there you go. That's why we were mean to you. Look, because you're still pushing yourself out there. You're still this pushy princess, you know. And yeah, it really breaks my heart. Like I said, I've lost close friends because of this, because of the press hounding in the UK.
How do you think he feels about this dynamic? They almost kind of imply that, he's just as messy as the rest of them. How do you see this? And also, do they like it? Like, some people are out there saying, hey, listen, at the end of the day, everyone's talking about him, and I just feel like there's power in...
No.
They hate
They
this.
don't like it.
Right. I'm with you on that one.
This family is the never complain, never explain mantra set by the Queen. And they hate it. They hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. The royals hate it. And they're not supposed to, as you probably know, the Queen's entire origin story, why she was on the throne at all, is because her uncle abdicated, right, for love. And that really messed things up for this family. And she felt that kind of like leading with one's heart and airing the dirty laundry in the way that all that scandal was pretty unforgivable. Not necessarily leading with one's heart, but like letting that family drama take the stage was something that she worked really hard to prevent. And as you know, like really failed at ultimately with her 4 children. On the other hand, she herself never once spoke about any of that, never once except in a couple very, scripted, carefully worded statements, but kept all that so close to the vest. As far as the role Charles has, we hear from a lot of people, a lot of sources sort of within this family and close to this family, like he just needs to knock their 2 heads together. And until that happens, these 2 brothers, nothing will ever be repaired. But when I hear that, I think, does that work in any family? Like since when does any father, mother, whatever, really have the power to fix their kids' relationships?
I've grown up with him. We're not that far apart in age. And I've spent time with him in public as a teenager. And, you know, he was always a little bit different from the rest. And because he is and I can't believe we're all saying this now, but the spare, you know, he was allowed a little bit more freedom. And, you know, I've been at parties with him, and he's a really nice, normal, regular guy. And I think that's wonderful and refreshing. And like Michelle was saying earlier, because of the trauma of his mother, I think it's made him a more emotionally intelligent person.
Did Harry and Meghan really expect it to end here? Because to me, no. I watched this documentary, then I'm on TikTok, and I see her brother's interview, and I see how her ex-husband's coming out the tell-all, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is just getting messier and messier, and this Netflix documentary is just like one more piece in this, again, like modern day Shakespearean drama.
And they'd already done Oprah, you know, and activity breeds activity. Yeah, every time they come out and say something, other people are going to double back down.
For every action, there's a positive equal reaction.